Welcome to Big Brothers Big Sisters TV. I'm your host, Rod Jacobs. Together, we will hear stories of potential, gratitude, community activities, and inspirational messages. But first, we want you to get involved. Check out bbbswashtenaw.org/give or on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn at bbbswashtenaw. Also, click that button below and share our webcast with your family and friends. Remember to mark your calendars for the big little telethon on September 13th from 5 to 9 p.m. Time now for our website chat. I'd like to welcome to the website chat Ebony Robinson. Welcome, Ebony.
Hi, thank you, Rod. How are you?
I'm very good. Thanks for joining us. You
No
you work
problem.
at United Way as the development and communications manager, but you worked for Big Brothers Big Sisters at one time. Tell us what that
Yes.
was like.
Yeah, so I started with Big Brothers Big Sisters in November 2017 as the grants writer, working with Jen, the ED, and Amanda as a program manager. And I tell you, I had a great time at the organization with all the other staff. As the grant writer, Rod, it really gave me a great opportunity to truly understand the work and why that one-on-one mentoring is so valuable and so important for the littles, even for the bigs too and their families. And so, yeah, I just loved being a part of the organization and what it means and what it adds value to our community.
While you've transitioned over to the United Way,
Yes.
how tell us about that role that you're in now and how the United Way is approaching today's challenges.
Yeah, so I have a awesome opportunity to be a part of that team, and so I am the development and communications manager. So my role, if you've heard of the campaign workplace, and so in our community, I'm over that as well as being a part of the team for all things communications. And so really at the end of the day, like any nonprofit, you always everyone has their hands in the work. And so I have that title, but I'm excited to just be a part of that work. You talk about what is United Way doing kind of right now, and in particular, Rod, I think you're speaking about COVID-19 and everything that's happening. I would say United Way has been doing a lot, but I would just point out three things that we have done. Number one is we launched the COVID-19 relief fund with a goal of $1 million. And that fund has actually helped over 50 plus organizations to continue their work in their community, or to pivot the work. Because COVID-19, we're all quarantining. You're at your house, I'm at
Mhm.
my house. And so organizations had to pivot their work. And so we had the great opportunity to partner with organizations. The second thing is that in January, we did our 21-day equity challenge. Well, with the COVID-19, we did a COVID-19 version, edition, if you will, 5-day equity challenge, where we really focused in on race from the levels of racism, white privilege, segregation, and then giving folks an opportunity to take action. And then the last thing, so number three that we've been doing is we had a community gathering of solidarity. And so we recognize that not everyone is able to get out because protests are starting to happen, marches, rallies, but not everyone can get out right now, or maybe don't feel safe to come out. And so we wanted to do something via Zoom, which would allow folks to come together, to chat, to get an understanding and clarity on kind of where we are right now.
And I do have to, in all this full disclosure, United Way has supported Big Brothers Big Sisters with the relief fund, and we're very thankful for that because we too had to pivot. Very thankful for the 21-day challenge that happened in January. I followed it every day, made sure to check out one or multiple resources that was presented.
Yes.
So very beneficial, and I imagine those resources are still available.
Yeah, they're still on our website. So you can go to uwgive.org and you can access the 21-day challenge or the 5-day challenge as well.
Now, let's switch and put on a different hat because you're an author, you're a mentor, uh, a minister, a speaker. Like you've got a diverse skill set there. Tell us more about your passions.
Yeah, so thanks, Rod. What I think my big passion is really seeing people operate in their full potential, seeing people discover their purpose and then walking out their purpose. This is something that I believe, Rod. I believe is that there is a problem on the earth that you were created to answer. So I believe that we have an answer on the inside of us. And so it's up to us to figure out what is that problem and then go ahead and find the solutions for it. So that's what I'm passionate about is seeing people operate in their gifting, operate in their purpose and being excited about it and fulfilling it.
Tell me a bit about your book.
Yeah, so the book is entitled The God Print, Navigating Life His Way. So it is a Christian based book. And it's really about, we tend to, and if you're of Christian faith, is that we tend to do things our own way. Kind of knocking our heads up against the wall, but we have been given a blueprint, and then in my case, the Bible that will help me facilitate and navigate this world and that if I would use it, then it can help me navigate my life and do it His way.
It's very powerful. And how many of us in today's society need that path that lined out for us to help us walk a more fulfilled life. And as you know, society is undergoing major change over the
Yeah,
last little while. We talked about just before getting on this call the impact that it's having on our lives personally. But
yeah.
I'd love to get your take on how do we turn the corner for change? How do we turn that corner in our society today?
Yeah, Rod, it is tough right now. I mean, we just talked about a couple of things on how tough it is. I think what's happening is that the flashlight of injustices are out and it's clearly marking, right, what is wrong. There's a quote by James Baldwin, and he says, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced. And so, I don't have all the answers. And sometimes I even say, do I even know anything? But what I do know is that there has to be recognition, there has to be justice, and there has to be reconciliation. And I think Linda Lambert, she has this quote, and it is so great. And I think she says it best. And she says, "One good conversation can shift the direction of change forever." And so I think that we have to be bold and we have to have a compassion and we should want to have conversations as tough as they may be so that we can have an understanding, so that we can dismantle systemic racism, and to be quite honest, so that we can dismantle the concept of white privilege, so that we all have an understanding of what it is, call it out, and then let's go to work. But if we don't call it out, then we will never be able to go to work. So I think it's important for us to have conversations. And I think that's a way for us to change the corner, move on to the next block. It's tough because there's lots of years, hundreds of years for us to really unpack. But I think by having bold conversations will definitely help us in the process.
I want to just touch on one thing that you mentioned in that was that um, the conversations are scary. They're bold.
Yeah.
They're tough. They're big. They're things that just feel bring up so many emotions. But you mentioned the word compassion.
Yeah.
How important is compassion for us to have these important conversations?
Yeah, I think it's so important because when we have these conversations, everyone doesn't have the answer. A lot of us walk into just life with prejudices, with biases, not even really knowing that we have these until it's called out. And so it's important as I'm having a conversation with a white brother or sister, is that I have to understand that sometimes they don't even know that what they're doing or what they said and how that can be offended. And even me as a black woman, I come into conversations and spaces with biases and prejudices as well. But I think that if we can just again have those conversations and that we can be able to help each other walk through it, knowing that it's going to be painful. It's like ripping off a Band-Aid. It
Mhm.
hurts bad, but you have to rip it off. And then if we can, walk gingerly with each other, and having these conversations, it's important for us to do so.
Very powerful words, and I agree with you 100% that it's tough, but I think we can get through it together as long as we get back to that value-based conversation of compassion. Thank you, Ebony, so much for joining us today.
Thank
Very,
you.
very insightful. I look forward to hearing more about share when you're speaking next, and would love to be
Sure,
able
yes.
when we get to that point of being able to get together with everybody.
Yes, thank you so much, Rod.
Time for a different segment. We're going to do this once a month. It's our match of the month, and we're going to talk about who that is. But first, let me bring in Rachel Sokowski. Rachel, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, we're going to talk about the match of the month, Destiny and Stephanie. Tell us a bit about them.
Yeah, they're pretty spectacular. So they've been matched about 7 months now. Stephanie is very outgoing, very kind, and Destiny is a little quiet at first and very sweet. So I knew they would hit it off. So some things they've done together, they've gone to like Petco, they've gone to eat salads because they love salads. They've come to a lot of our events. And, during the pandemic, Stephanie really stepped it up. She was working 12, 18-hour days in the hospital, but she would still check in every day, not every day, every week, drop off food, and was always trying to meet the family where they're at. So, yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. Would they do anything special during like virtual conversations?
So during the pandemic, as a lot of our bigs have noticed, that sometimes getting to talk to their littles was a little more challenging, especially if they're younger. So they were able to talk on the phone sometimes, but yeah, they were able to see each other this past weekend, with masks, and they both wore Black Lives Matter shirts. So it was pretty cool.
Well, let's listen to a little video or watch a little video from our big Stephanie.
Destiny and I were matched in October 2019. We quickly discovered that we love to sing in the car together. So we created a playlist. She's incredibly talented. I just know the words. But we have a lot of fun, and she loves to eat salads, which is great. What little kid loves that? And she loves to shop. I love to shop. It's been a great match so far, and really enjoying it. We talk about anything that's on our mind, from school to more recently the Black Lives Matter protests. And it's been incredibly rewarding being in this relationship with Destiny, and I love being a big sister.
Hi, I'm Jen Spittler, Executive Director, Big Brothers Big Sisters. And last week I learned about a campaign called Share the Mic Now, an effort to magnify Black women's voices. So today I am going to share my mic with one of our very own, Capri Ervin. Capri is our mentoring coordinator for Big Brothers Big Sisters of Washtenaw County, and she's going to share her thoughts today. Enjoy.
Jen, thank you for that warm introduction. As Jen said, my name is Capri Urban, and I am our mentoring coordinator enrollment. So what that means is that I work with volunteers, potential volunteers, and families to get them enrolled in our program. When Jen asked me to speak today, I thought of so many things I can talk about. I could have talked about what has it been like post-COVID, how's it been trying to navigate like different social situations or human trafficking or anything. But one thing that stood out the most to me was talking about community, right? Community for me is everything. So as young as I can remember, I've always had a sense of community, right? There's always been people around me, or traditions that I have, or even daily routines that I have that make me feel like I'm part of something that's bigger than myself. For example, a small gesture could be, me going to my favorite Coney Island restaurant where I grew up in Detroit, and a waitress not only recognizing me and my family, but also knowing what we want to order, right? And even communities of faith, so seeing them every week. There's a lot of rituals that we have that since COVID has happened have been interrupted, right? So prior to COVID, I would love to go to Premium Cuts and get my hair cut. And in the barber shop, not only connecting with my barber and exchanging different grocery store techniques and hacks, but also figuring out what's going on in the community. And I really, really miss that, right? I miss the routines that make me feel like I'm part of something. I miss seeing people that I'm able to connect with and just the organic experiences that happen when you are face to face with someone and not over internet or virtually. So for me, that has been one of the hardest things to deal with. And I can imagine that our families and our littles have those same challenges, right? Figuring out if, if we're only in the house or in our apartment and don't really go out as much, how do we still stay connected to one another? How do we still have those organic connections? And then how do we still stay connected with the people who mean most to us? I'm thankful that with Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Bigs have still been able to create some sort of routine with their littles, whether that is texting them or FaceTiming or playing their favorite internet game together. I'm really, really thankful for that. As we continue to navigate, though we're in towards the end of our phases, I want to also challenge you to figure out what does community mean to you, and then how can you stay connected. If you are like many of us and you have screen burnout, so if you're tired of Zoom and Google meetings, I would encourage you to do something different. Make a phone call to a friend or a loved one, try writing letters, join some different meetup groups, maybe even go for a social distance walk, whatever it takes for you to still stay connected. I know for me, what that will look like is continue to do FaceTime hangouts, or not really hangouts, but FaceTime calls with my friends, and even trying to write letters or join different social media groups, which is a little bit out of my comfort zone, but something I'm definitely willing to try to stay connected, especially during these times. So again, I encourage you until our next BBS live session to figure out what are some ways that you can stay connected to what's going on, and what are even some ways that you can challenge yourself to make some new connections.
Let's talk about gratitude. And now joining me is Gabby OConnell. Gabby, we talked with Ebony, who's from the United Way. They do so much great work. Tell us more about them.
Yeah, we are so thankful for the United Way. The county helps connect people, resources, and organizations together to create a thriving community for everyone in Washtenaw County. Their core values of equity, inclusiveness, and community have helped serve as an amazing resource for Big Brothers Big Sisters and several other organizations within our county as well, especially during the COVID-19 crisis. They provide an equitable community where the opportunity isn't limited, and we are just so thankful for their efforts to help serve Big Brothers Big Sisters, our families, and everyone in our community during this time.
We are very thankful, and they put together a little video based on their COVID-19 relief fund, which Big Brothers Big Sisters is a recipient. So we want to share that video with you today.
Hi, my name is Anwar Leonard. I am the president of the Cream Incorporated, and on behalf of the Cream, we would like to thank United Way for their support.
Thank you, United Way. Thank you, United Way.
On behalf of everyone at Unite STEM, I wanted to thank United Way of Washtenaw County. Because of your support, we've been able to manufacture personal protective equipment for first responders and healthcare providers in our community. Thank you so much.
Good morning, United Way. Thank you for your support from all of us at NEW.
Hi, this is Pam Smith from the United Way of Washtenaw County. Thank you so much. When you give, advocate, or volunteer, you're helping us build a stronger community. Your help during the COVID-19 Community Relief Fund has helped us help thousands. Thank you again.
Well, as we wrap up our show this week, it's time for our final quote segment. And joining me this week is Danny Murphy. Danny Murphy is our marketing and communications manager. Hello, Danny, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Ron.
So as we wrap up, we always like to get a very inspirational quote or something that motivates us and reaches down to our core. And you've got a great one for us this week.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites from the Lorax by Dr. Seuss. And it's, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to change. It's not.
That's a great quote. So, what I thought of Dr. Seuss, the first thing that popped in my mind was this cartoon character, but Dr. Seuss is actually real. Tell us more about who Dr. Seuss is.
Well, he was an author and an artist. And to me, he's always been one of my favorites. Brilliant children's stories that I've used forever to teach my children lessons, everything from the Lorax to Yertle the Turtle. But he was also an artist, and he did a lot of really amazing work that I think people are often surprised by because it's very different than what you see in his children's books.
He did Green Eggs and Ham?
He did do Green Eggs and Ham, yeah.
That one, I remember that one as a kid. So he definitely transcends across time and space. So what spoke to you about this quote?
Well, this quote to me says, it really applies to what's going on in the world today, because I feel like a lot of people are caring very passionately about a lot of different things right now, whether that's climate change or social justice reform. And I think it's a really exciting time that has the potential to really change the way we do things and see things, but we have to keep caring. We can't just, go to one protest or write one letter. We have to keep that momentum going and keep pushing. And that can seem exhausting at times, but that's the way change happens.
I totally agree with you 100%. Great quote, Danny. Thank you.
Thank
Danny
you.
Murphy with our final quote. Thank you to our special guests that joined us. We also want to thank you, our amazing supporters. Remember to mark your calendars for the Big Little Telethon happening September 13th from 5 to 9 p.m. Also, click that button below and share us with your friends and family. Check out Big Brothers Big Sisters online at bbbswashtenaw.org/give or on our social media at bbbswashtenaw. Join us on Tuesday, June 30th for more Big Brothers Big Sisters TV. I'm Rod Jacobs signing off. Stay safe and remember, a clear vision is your roadmap to success.